Everybody, welcome back to Fire Your MD Now Radio. Mike Phillip once again filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. He's jetting off to San Diego for a conference. So for the next 2 hours, you are going to hang out with me. It's Thursday, October 9th, 2014. Call-in line is 844-374-5433. You can actually contact me at mike@teamglidden.ca, and if you have any interesting articles to send the show, any questions, or if you want to get involved with longevity, get your health back, you have health questions, you can get a hold of me at mike@teamglidden.ca. Now, as I get ready to do this show, I peruse a lot of material, and I'm not always looking for specific information, but I like to look for trends, and I'm seeing a trend among sources of information available for doctors where the right to die is being brought up continually. Now, a while back, this was brought to the forefront of media attention by a man named Dr. Jack Kevorkian, and we're going to talk a little bit about him. But first of all, I would like to discuss the Hippocratic Oath. All right, the Hippocratic Oath is an oath historically taken by physicians and physician assistants. It's one of the most widely known of Greek medical texts. It requires a new physician to swear upon a number of healing gods to uphold specific ethical standards of historic and traditional value. The oath is considered a rite of passage for practitioners of medicine in many countries, although nowadays the modernized version of the text varies among them. Scholars widely believe that Hippocrates, often called the father of medicine in Western culture, or one of his students, wrote the oath. Now, there's a few misconceptions running around out there about the Hippocratic Oath, and the most popular is the phrase, first do no harm. Okay? That's a misconception. That phrase is believed to have originated with the 19th century surgeon Thomas Inman. Okay? Now, I'm not going to read the entire Hippocratic Oath because it's kind of lengthy, but I'm going to pick out a few parts, and then we're going to look at this guy, Jack Kevorkian. With regard to healing the sick, I will devise and order for them the best diet, according to my judgment and means, and I will take care that they suffer no hurt or damage, nor shall any man's entreaty prevail upon me to administer poison to anyone, neither will I counsel any man to do so. Moreover, I will get no sort of medicine to any pregnant woman with a view to destroy the child. Interesting, huh? Further, I will comport myself and use my knowledge in a godly manner. Whatsoever house I may enter, my visit shall be for the convenience and advantage of the patient, and I will willingly refrain from doing any injury or wrong, from falsehood, and in an especial manner from acts of an amorous nature. You don't sleep with your patients. Whatever may be the rank of those who it may be my duty to cure, whether mistress or servant, bond or free. So there you have it laid out with you. Doctors are not supposed to hurt anybody. They are not supposed to. They take an oath to never administer any kind of treatment or anything that would hurt a baby inside of a pregnant woman. How many doctors does that sound like to you these days? Now, like I said, I research a variety of topics for things to talk about on this show, and this interests me greatly, and I'm seeing a growing number of physicians talking about end-of-life rights for patients. We're going to start out with Dr. Jack Kevorkian. Now, Dr. Jack Kevorkian a clip of him speaking with Anderson Cooper on CNN when he got out of jail. He's dead now, but let's roll that clip and listen to what he has to say for himself.
How many people in total did you help die?
It's around 130.
Around?
A little more than 130. Right.
You're not sure of the exact number?
Well, I was helped by a colleague, a psychiatrist, who joined me near the end. The only doctor who offered to join me. In fact, the only doctor who would cooperate with me.
And the first time you did it, who was the first
Janet Atkins was the first,
And that was in a van.
in a van.
Why in a van?
I couldn't find a place. I tried nursing homes, churches,
You didn't want to do it at your
clinics.
apartment.
No, because the police would raid the apartment, clean it out, and I didn't want to involve anybody else in it, like the landlord.
I mean, what is that like to end somebody's life in a van?
Well, you're not ending the life. I didn't do it to end the life. I did it to end the suffering the patient's going through. The patient is obviously suffering. What's the doctor supposed to do? Turn his back? If he's a coward, he is. But
A lot of doctors do that.
Well, they're cowards. Doctors are cowards. You know that. They won't take anything that's going to hurt their income or their reputation. Anything that possible, any legal thing that's going to possibly be damaging.
I mean, do you have nightmares about it? Did you ever feel...
No. I don't think a doctor should have a nightmare about any medical procedure, or else he's not a doctor.
Did you find it sad?
Well, of course. You don't like to end a life. Look, if somebody's got a cancer of the bone, of the hip, you don't take the leg off at the joint, in the hip joint, because you want to do it. I says, I'm going to take that leg off. I can't wait to take that leg off. No. The leg has to come off to help save the patient's life. Unfortunately, it entails the loss of a leg.
But a lot of people, as you know, I mean, say, look, you're playing God. That shouldn't
Well,
be
isn't the doctor who takes a leg off playing God?
You're saying doctors play God all the time.
Of course. Anytime you interfere with a natural process, you're playing God. God determines what happens naturally. That means that when a person's ill, he shouldn't go to a doctor because he's asking for interference with God's will. But of course, patients can't think that way. They want to live as long as possible and not suffer. So they call a doctor to help them end the suffering.
Are you a religious man?
No,
Do you believe in God?
I don't know. Is there a God? Look, I'm a scientist. A doctor is always a scientist.
Do you fear death?
Well, as much as anybody else. I fear it only because I like living so much because I feel good.
If you were ill, if you had a terminal illness and were in pain, would you take your own life?
If it was unending pain and there's no cure, of course. I'm doing this for me. See, it's my natural right. That's in the Constitution, in the Ninth Amendment, which is ignored. I have a natural right to do whatever I want with my body. Anything. As long as it doesn't affect anybody else or any other property, and I give permission, myself permission to do it. That's true of anything. I help a patient only with his permission to do what I think is necessary, and it's all laid out in detail to the patient.
Do you think you've had an impact? Do you think you've been successful?
I think this film may have an impact because it's very emotional and very powerful. But it helps the issue, and that's what counts. Whether it helps me or not is irrelevant. And I like that because it helps the issue.
You use different ways of ending people's lives.
Yes.
At first, what did you use?
I had to devise a way to do it. The patient was quadriplegic who wanted a doctor to come and help him die. I says, look, I can help you, but it's illegal. So I've got to find a way to do it legally. And I'll get back in touch with you. And in the meantime, I was working on a way to do it.
So you basically just came up with an idea in your mind
right.
to make a machine.
That would save me from having to do it. So
A machine that would allow the person to actually end their
That's right.
own life.
I would set up the machines, all the solutions and everything, in the intravenous line, and then the patient would hit a switch and start everything flowing.
Later on, you started using a gas.
Yeah, because they took away my license for the controlled substance.
So you couldn't get access
No,
to...
so they made it harder for me and harder for the patient. But that didn't bother them. See, they don't care about the patient suffering. See?
So you actually, so what, you would put something over their head and give them a gas?
No, we first tried one case with a thing I devised over the head of a plastic that's you could see through, transparent.
Right.
But the patient panicked and said, stop it. So I stopped it. We stopped it. And I says, why don't we try this another day? He said, no, do it now. He was determined to end it. He had severe emphysema. And that helps you panic. When you breathe, you have trouble breathing. When you're breathing carbon monoxide gas, When you have carbon monoxide poisoning at night when you're asleep, it doesn't wake you up. You die. In other words, it's not so disturbing that it would wake you up. Therefore, it can't be too disturbing when you take it awake.
And the final patient, Tom Yao.
Yeah.
That case was different. You actually injected him yourself.
That's right.
You actually injected him because you wanted to go to court.
I wanted to bring the case so that I get standing. They can't say they didn't get the particularized case they wanted.
And you thought it would go to the Supreme Court and that basically this would change the law of the land.
Yeah, I hope this going to get. I doubt it though, because I knew the court's corrupt.
I want to just show a little video that you made prior to the injection.
And we're ready to inject. We're going to inject in your right arm. Okay? Tom? You asleep? He's asleep.
We just killed a guy on live TV.
When you see that, what do you think?
That the law has forced me to do this in the most undignified way.
You think it's undignified?
Of course it is. There's no family there. We're alone, two of us. I can't risk anybody else's life.
You had told his family that they should leave.
You must not be there because they'll try to prosecute you as an accomplice or something. You don't know because they're cruel. The law is cruel. They don't care about the patient. They care about the letter of the law.
Bond is set for $50,000. You going to pay that today?
Oh, that is beyond egregious, Your Honor.
There is no way I'm going to pay a bond like that, Your Honor. You can forget it. You can forget it. Because this is the last time
Jack.
you people unjustly take away from me my liberties.
I need a moment of my
last
time, Your Honor.
And I will not, hear me now, I will not eat.
Welcome back to Fire Your MD Now Radio. Now, before that break, we played a clip of Dr., and I hate to use that word in front of his name, Jack Kevorkian. And in that little speech that he gave to Anderson Cooper, by the way, at the end of the clip, there was a movie made about him, and that was part of that movie. And Jack Kevorkian was played by Al Pacino, who thanked him for his great work. Now, Kevorkian wanted to talk about your right to die. And it's kind of ridiculous to begin with because I can go out in the garage, shut the door, and turn the car on anytime I want. I want to live. But what about your right to have information that you could act on so that you would never get to the terminal illness in the first place? And how many times did he break the Hippocratic Oath in that little speech? He downed religion. He talked about religious reasons why people don't want this, but the rest of the world does. Religion has nothing to do with it. Okay? In fact, most religious people I've met, or Christians in particular, want health and they want the truth. So you have a right to die, fine. What about your right to have access to information that could drastically improve your quality of life and not have to watch a loved one suffer for 4 years of chemoradiation therapy? What about your right not to have diabetes in the first place because you learned something so easy that you could have learned it in grade 4 health class and you never had to get diabetes to begin with? What about that right? What about the right to use whatever treatment you want for yourself or your kids? What about that right? He never mentions that. He goes into how doctors are cowards, and I wholeheartedly agree with it. But you know what? Dr. Wallach is no coward. Dr. Glidden is no coward. Those things I read off in the Hippocratic Oath, I've never, ever, ever known, seen, or heard Dr. Glidden violate them at any time. And this guy got big press. Now, to his credit, he served 8 years in jail, and he did it like a man. But now, medicine is bankrupting the country. Whether you live in the United States, Canada, the UK, Australia, it's all the same. I mean, here in Edmonton, I was watching Global News the other morning. They were talking about patients suffering from terminal illnesses and chronic diseases are having to sleep on couches in waiting rooms because they have no beds. Well, I know a way that they could send those people home and they'd have all kinds of beds. I know of a way we could almost completely cut type 2 diabetes out of our society. Save billions and millions and trillions of dollars every year. It's easy. Joe in Fort Worth, Gisette in Israel, and Karen in Florida. You just hang on right where you are. I just got a few points to make, and we're going to get to your calls. Now, I go to medscape.com. That's a site for doctors. Okay? This is information by doctors for doctors. Now, listen to this. Special report. Physician-assisted dying. Is resistance eroding? Physician-assisted death gets a second look in the post-Kevorkian era. That's one article. I'm just going to read you some headlines. Great Britain ponders physician-assisted suicide. Poll. How would you vote on physician-assisted suicide? And I'm going to read you those numbers, and they're scary. Have we overlooked palliative care as an answer to a patient's suffering? Developing a physician-assisted suicide program. Physician-assisted suicide, a clinician's perspective. Physicians are talking. Why should we assist in suicide? Physician-assisted suicide, only a last resort. And it gets pretty repetitive, doesn't it? So you're so bad at your job, and you're not willing to admit it, so we'll just kill the patient. It's not our fault they're sick, it's theirs. You gotta blame the victim, right? Now, do you approve or disapprove of physician-assisted suicide for terminally ill patients? This is a poll taken by doctors. Strongly approve, 54%. Somewhat approve, 17%. Strongly disapprove, 24%. If you live outside the United Kingdom, would you want physician-assisted suicide to be legalized in your country if it's not already illegal? 69%. Yes, that's doctors. They're voting to kill you because they suck at their job. We'll be back with your calls. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden, back after this. Welcome back to Fire Your MD Now Radio. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden, and I promised I'd take your calls after my long-winded little opinion rant about physician-assisted suicide. And I'm not done with that. I'm going to get into some of those articles because I want to pull the lid off this attitude that is gaining more and more ground. And what it is really is you are seen as an economic unit. And if somebody has to lose $10 to keep you alive, guess what? Let's go over to Joe in Fort Worth. How you doing, Joe?
Can you hear me?
I hear you just great. Joe, what's going on?
I have an autistic son. He's got pica.
Oh, so you catch him eating dirt and stuff?
No, he eats the house.
He eats the house, okay.
Sheetrock, wallboard. We put concrete wallboard over the holes where he punched holes in the sheetrock to eat the sheetrock. He does that for two reasons. He does it because he's in very, very severe bowel disorder pain. He punched his head through the sheetrock. There's times he just punches a hole through the sheetrock just to eat the sheetrock.
Right.
He has sleep disorders. He's on Pentasa and Endicort for these bowel disorder problems.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Pica, he has. Well, let's put it this way: 27 months, he got 7 vaccines, and he ain't never been the same since. It destroyed him.
Yeah, you know what? And I hear this all the time, Joe, all the time. And I think, quite honestly, if he'd have been born nutrified and the pregnancy was normal and everything, like there, lack of nutrients, iron deficiency, zinc deficiency, things like that have been identified in Pica cases, but. Yeah, when you take somebody that's already minerally deficient in their body from birth, and then you pump a bunch of foreign agents and mercury adjuvants into a person, yeah, I definitely think that it has an effect. Now, Dr. Wallach doesn't think so, but the fact is kids are getting almost 400% more vaccines now than they did 20 years ago. So, sorry to interrupt you there, Joe, but yeah, I'm on board with you there.
What our main problem is he wants to chew everything. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is, he'll chew it, he'll eat it.
Yeah, he's really craving minerals is what's happening, Joe.
Yeah, and I listened to that one you guys did with Jess, and I've always been told there's nothing you can do about pica. You know, the MD said that, you know, there's just nobody really knows what to do about it.
Yeah, I've always been told there is nothing you can do about diabetes or cancer or bone and joint pain, but I've seen all those things melt away using Dr. Wallach's protocols. So you're in good company here, Joe. And how? Tell me this: how old is this boy, and how much does he weigh?
He's 24 now. He's about 140 pounds, 145.
140 pounds. Okay, so you mentioned that he has a bowel disorder.
Oh God, he's got a horrible bowel disorder. Well, we went years without getting the real kind of help we needed, because we just went to gastroenterologist and they would do like an upper and lower GI and they wouldn't find anything except fissures, because he'd go like every fourth or fifth day, and then this big, huge, giant grapefruit would come out of him. Mm-hmm. Anyway, it caused fissures in his tail, and they said, well, that's the only thing we can find. It's very painful, but that doesn't describe the kind of pain you're talking about. We said, well, we heard you can only find this if you do a pill cam. Well, finally we got a pill cam done after two decades, and it revealed 14 and a half inches of red raw bleeding ulcers. He got to the point where he wouldn't even eat food anymore. We didn't know why. And that's why, because he had 14 and a half inches of red raw bleeding ulcers in him. While we waited to see, this is how incompetent these people are. We waited 6 months to see a gastroenterologist before we got to this gastroenterologist that was able to do the pill cam. And this is what she told us. She says, what makes you think your child is feeling pain? Well, it's like this, doctor. He starts screaming, no, 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 mama, no, no. And then all of a sudden, it's like somebody's peeling the skin off his body while he's alive, or dousing him with kerosene. He starts screaming louder and louder. And then he latches onto the table. And he bites onto the table until his gums bleed. She said, oh, these children, they just have bad autistic behavior. That's amazing.
You know what? Oh, man, she should have been slapped. You know what? The same thing used to happen to me, Joe. I used to take my wife to the doctor because, she was crying herself to sleep at night. And we would go to a pain specialist or a rheumatologist. And my wife doesn't do drugs. She's a very upstanding. She's the president of the Chamber of Commerce, for God's sake. And the doctor would accuse her of lying to get drug prescriptions, and I would listen to her cry herself to sleep. So it's really maddening, and I bet you it wasn't cheap, hey, Joe?
No, it wasn't cheap. And the thing is, it's not cheap for this nation. These kids are costing this country a fortune. Each child that has autism is right at around $6 million each, and that's if they're left untreated. If they're treated, it even goes higher, 20 to 50 to $100 million lifelong care costs on these kids. And
it's unreal.
Remember what you was talking about earlier was physician-assisted suicide.
Yeah.
This country is going to try to they're probably going to pull that rabbit out of the hat, because the children now are 1 in 50 kids now has autism, 1 in every 31 boys. And the next 10 years, it's been estimated by an MIT professor that if it keeps going at the rate it's going now, in 10 years, by 2025, you're going to have 1 in 2 children autistic.
Well, they are pulling that rabbit out of the hat because they never come right out and say what they're going to do, but they do. But they pose it as a question. Is resistance crumbling to physician-assisted suicide? But like I said, on a website by doctors, for doctors, right off the bat, I found 8 articles in a row on whether or not doctors should legally be allowed to kill. And if they can't do their job, they can't admit that their treatments are juvenile, ineffective, deadly, and hurting kids, hurting women, hurting men, then they'll just say, well, we need to kill them off because it's too expensive to not help them, and they're in pain because of our screw up in the first place. And then, so we got people like you out there, Joe. And this information has been around for a long time. And like I said, right to die, what about the right to know what to do in the first place and have a happy, healthy child the way that God intended?
Well, the reason you don't is because of pharma. Pharma has these people wrapped around their little fingers. My God,
they do.
They control all. They don't only control the doctors. They control the publications out there. They control all of them. I mean, my God, Merck had Elsevier create them five fake journals. Now, it's amazing. 5 fake journals? Why do you need 5 fake journals? And even Elsevier admitted to it reluctantly, but they admitted to it that they had created them 5 fake journals. That's so that they can put anything they want in their journal and not be contested. It's amazing.
Well, that's just it.
Completely out of
That's
control.
just it. But you know what? The blind lead the blind. They'll both fall in a ditch, right, Joe? I mean,
That's what the Word of God says.
That's where it comes to. And so, if you're out there and you're just going to blindly accept whatever they say, no matter how stupid it is and how much pain it's causing and how much suffering, then ultimately you're going to get what you deserve. And I hate to put it that way, but it is a fact. Your quality of life, and not only you, but your children and your family and your community, is going to be completely predicated on what information your God-given brain is able to receive and what you're willing to do about it. Now, a lot of people talk about how the nation is going down the drain, and I'm actually in Western Canada, Joe, but it's the same situation up here. I'm seeing exactly what you're talking about. 2 different countries, same situation. And a lot of people talk about it. They talk about, well, there's a new world order. We got to do something about the government. Well, what are you doing about it? Well, I'll tell you what I'm doing about it. I'm talking to people like Joe and people in my family and community, and we are getting our health back, and we're backing away from the death machine that is called Big Pharma and Western medicine in general. It's a death machine. I mean, they're talking about legalizing physician-assisted suicide. Well, they kill people every day to the tune of about 800,000, 1 million people a year. I mean, between bad drug prescriptions, botched surgeries. I've got a story in here about people are getting drug-resistant E. coli from colonoscopies now. I mean, if there ever was another reason not to let a doctor stick a camera up your rear end, I can't think of a better one. But, Joe, what's important right now, we've been ranting a little bit. Let's talk about this son of yours. You mentioned he has this bowel disorder. First of all, as I read in the Hippocratic Oath, one of the first things that he talked about was his patient's diet. Okay? So we really focus on diet and the things that people are eating here. Now, number 1, your son needs to be put on a gluten-free diet, no matter what you and your wife have to do. That is number 1, numero uno. That's something you can start today. Okay? Now, how are those ulcers doing? Have they subsided at all, or?
Well, we haven't gone back to let him do another pill cam to see if and pill cam is really it's very safe because all you do is swallow it. The camera, it goes through the body, takes pictures, and,
right.
And it sends this message to this little fanny pack that the kid wears all day long. But we haven't been back yet. We're going to go back here probably in the next month or so, and we're going to find out then. Hopefully, it's a little better. Actually, it's a lot better because he's able to eat now. He got to where he couldn't eat anything. We had to go on $55 a day, something called Elecare. It's like a formula for an adult, and he had to drink that stuff, and that wasn't easy to get him to drink that, I promise you. And these kids are very, very narrow on their diet anyway. I mean, you're only going to get them to eat what they're not. They'll starve to death. Their brain will tell them, "I'm not eating that." But for one thing, whatever happens in these kids' brains when they get the encephalopathy that causes this from the vaccine, it causes a heightened sense of smell. And whereas you and me might not like, might like something by the way it smells, it may smell putrid to him.
Right.
But anyway, getting back to what's wrong with him, do y'all have anything that cover that?
Yeah, do you think you could turn off that other phone, Joe?
Yeah.
That's pretty loud on my end. Okay, so yeah, there's a few things you can do. Okay, first of all, we want to get the proper amount of minerals, vitamins, and amino and fatty acids first off the bat into this. He's a man, he's 24. And what you're going to want to do because he's had these stomach disorders, we have health packs, but I want you to write this down. I want you to go outside of that a little bit, okay? I don't want you to use the regular Healthy Start pack, because if he's had issues in his stomach, that might cause a little bit of havoc because of the citrus and the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. What I want you to do, Joe, you got a pen?
Yeah, I got one.
There's a product called Ultimate Classic. Okay, Ultimate Classic. I want you to get him 2 bottles of Ultimate Classic. I hear the music, and that means we're coming up on a break. But I know exactly where we're at, Joe, and we're going to come back to you on the other side of the commercials. Gisette in Israel, Dave in Toronto, Kyle in California, Karen in Florida. Stay where you're at. We're finished up with Joe. We'll get over to you. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. We're live. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. Before the break, we're talking to Joe in Fort Worth, and I was about to rattle off a few things that he could give his son to help him restore his body. Now, the funny thing about the body, it always wants to fix itself. It's always trying to fix itself. But if it runs out of a mineral, vitamin, or amino and fatty acid, it starts to break down. And then you have situations where, you know, this man, he's 24, is in so much pain that adds to the stress, and that depletes you even further. And these knucklehead doctors have nothing, and they're so bad at their job, they have to turn around and say, it's not really happening, he's just making it up. Meanwhile, they take their son home, and he's in pain. And no parent can stand that. Well, before the break, I was telling you, Joe, if you still got that pen out, 1 bottle of Ultimate Classic. All right? 1 bottle of Beyond OsteoFX. All right? Now, I want you to get this guy 2 bottles of EFA Plus. That's his amino and fatty acids, okay? Now, on top of that, 2 bottles of Cherry Mints. Now, for his digestive issues, you're going to add to that 1 bottle of Ultimate Enzymes. All right? Now, Joe, who did you hear about the show through?
I got it on the net, believe it or not. I was just looking up stuff to help
All right.
with these things.
I'll tell you what, Joe, I'm going to give you an email address. All right, it's Mike at teamglidden.ca. That's Mike at teamglidden, GLIDDEN.ca. I want you to shoot me an email, Joe, and I'm going to deal with you personally on this, okay? I'm going to show you how to get this stuff at cost, and so you can get it without paying the shipping. Sound good?
Sounds great. I appreciate it. Cause
All right. Yeah, let's see what we can do. This has gone on long enough.
Yeah, it is.
All right, Joe, thanks for calling. Get in touch with me, and I will shoot you back an email after the show here. And we are going to jump over to Israel. Gisette, how you doing?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
You're on the air. What's going
I
on?
have a question before about terminal disease like HIV/AIDS,
HIV.
hypertension, and heart problem. All of these diseases, do you have nutritional supplement to help out with? For example,
Okay.
in the case of heart disease, if the person is dealing with a mitral valve, aortic valve, band, where you have a registration of the blood flow, like the blood doesn't go through the valve properly.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that can help out, to restore that valve?
Yeah, listen, for a bad heart valve, if anything, your heart is a muscle, okay?
Yeah.
Now, if a muscle is not working properly, that boils down to a couple of things, okay? Now, a calcium deficiency will cause funky muscles. Your heart is a muscle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so do you have muscle twitches anywhere else in your body or joint pain?
I have joint pain, severe joint pain lately.
Yeah, so, you've got...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a classic calcium deficiency, and there are ways that you can get that into your body. And once your body gets what it needs, it will just start to fix itself. Now, how much do you weigh, Gisette?
150.
150? Okay, so what I would do for a heart issue, I'm going to get into that on the other side of this break. Gisette, you stay right where you are, and then we're going to get over to David in Toronto, wants to talk about Dr. Brzezinski. Interesting subject I've been looking into lately. Kyle in California, Karen in Florida, stay where you are. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. We're live on Fire Your MD Now radio. Call in line 844-374-5433. It is Thursday, October 9th, 2014. We are already in the second hour. This show is going by pretty quickly today. I got to say, now before the break, we were talking to Gisette in Israel, and she wanted to know about a way to get your heart moving, kickstart your heart. If there's a way that a valve can be reactivated, well, I don't know what's too far, okay? I don't know what's beyond repair, but your body does, and your body will try to fix it, the problem, whatever it might be. And I've seen heart health turn around really fast. I've seen high blood pressure turn around in a matter of days. And without drugs or surgery. So what I was telling you before the break, Gisette, is that a person needs a lot of calcium for your muscles. The heart is a muscle. Now, do you have a pen?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I want you, Gisette, to get one healthy brain and heart pack. One healthy brain and heart pack. Now, I want you to get with that an extra bottle of OsteoFX, Beyond OsteoFX. Okay, there's going to be one with that pack. I want you to get two.
Excuse me, Dr. Glidden, what?
OsteoFX.
Oh, OsteoFX.
Yeah, you betcha. And this isn't Dr. Glidden. This is Mike Phillip. I'm filling in for him today, okay?
Oh, okay.
But I'll tell you...
Heart brain, health pack.
I'm having a hard time understanding you. You have a really great accent.
Hold on a second. Okay, you said healthy brain health pack, right?
Brain and heart pack.
Okay, brain and heart.
Yeah. And one bottle extra of OsteoFX.
Okay.
All right, now with that, I want you to get one bottle of Ultimate Dailies, and these are some big pills, okay? And you're going to take 4 of those a day.
Ultimate Daily for...
Yep. 4 a day. So you got one healthy brain and heart pack with an extra bottle of OsteoFX and one bottle of Ultimate Daily. Now, do you have a longevity distributor there in Israel that you've been talking to?
No.
No? Okay, do you need help with this?
I spoke when I called the office. A friend just gave me the number. When I called and talked to Shannon, I think.
Okay,
Shannon, somebody
at
like
Longevity?
That, so. Yes, at Longevity. So I promised to call her back, and so I will get in touch with her.
Sure, and if
Longevity.
That's fine. Now listen, if you need any help with how to take this stuff, you can send me an email, and it's mike@teamglidden.ca.
Okay, Mike at
teamglidden.ca.
Glidden.ca. Okay.
All right, so you go ahead and get that stuff.
Is that the only thing you want me to get? These are the 2 things you want me to take?
Well, in that Healthy Brain and Heart pack, there's about 5 items. Okay? There's about 5 items in there. There will be a bottle of EFAs. There will be a bottle of selenium. There will be a bottle of Cell Shield RTQ. One bottle of extra of OsteoFX and a can of Tangy Tangerine, okay?
So what about the calcium you're talking about?
Yeah, the calcium is all in that OsteoFX, and that's why I told you I want you to get an extra bottle, so you'll have 2. All right?
Okay, so get an extra. And then
Yes.
what about the nutrition? I heard they're talking about a certain nutrition that the longevity also provide you with some special nutrition. They will
Well-
send me everything.
Yeah. See, when you call Longevity and order this stuff up, that's going to have everything that you need in it. Now, there's some foods that you're going to have to stay away from, Gisette, okay?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's 10 foods, and you can get that list if you go to drglidden.com.
Okay.
All right, go to drglidden.com and register your email address, and they will send you that 10 bad food list. All right?
Okay.
Gisette, you have a great day.
Remember, the same thing I'm taking for my pressure. I have high blood pressure on control even with medication,
Yeah.
and I wish to come out of those medications.
Yeah, here's the thing. Once you start taking the 2 ounces of OsteoFX every day, I want you to just monitor your heart, your blood pressure, and you'll be able to talk to a pharmacist and tell them, look, it's starting to get better. I want to wean myself off, and you'll be able to just slowly stop taking them. But I want you to talk to your pharmacist about that.
Okay. My last question was about a friend of mine, even two, that have, HIV/AIDS.
Oh, yeah, that's
And,
right.
They would
Yeah.
like to know, if
Okay.
that can be reversed as well by natural nutrients.
Okay, I'm going to lay it on the line here for you. Listen, Gisette, there's a growing school of doctors that do not believe that the HIV virus even exists. Okay, so what you need, what I would do with a diagnosis of HIV, number one, I would stay away from any medication they give you. That's what I would do. Because what it came out is the primary AIDS medication was a failed chemotherapy drug called AZT. And it turned out AZT was absolutely destroying everything in a person's immune system. So they were diagnosing people with HIV, giving them this failed chemo drug, and then they would go downhill over about 5 years, and the medication would kill them. Now, if you saw the insert for the AIDS medication, it actually has a skull and crossbones on it. Okay, now what has shown great promise with people who were having problems with an HIV diagnosis, there is a sea vegetable called fucoidan. And fucoidan is a booster to just about everything. It boosts the immune system. Okay, fucoidan has been shown to help rebuild your liver. Fucoidan has been shown to, I could go on and on, but it's a big list. Now, Longevity has a couple products that have fucoidan present. Chief amongst those is a bottle of liquid called Z-Radical. Okay, now if I had a HIV diagnosis, number one, I would probably laugh at the doctor, but I'm not like most people, okay, because that doesn't scare me. What I would do, however, just in case, is I would boost my intake of Z-Radical and for the cause of the fucoidan.
Z or D as in David?
Z-Radical.
Yes, Z
Yeah.
or D?
The letter Z as in zebra.
Yes, Z as in zebra. Mhm.
Yeah. Or Z if you're in the United States.
Okay, Z. That's right, Z.
There you go. We Canadians say
Yes,
Z.
Z in French, Z. Okay.
Yeah.
But talk about something, supplement you just mentioned right now for that HIV/AIDS.
Yep.
Call what again?
Z.
No,
You're-
the first one.
Fucoidan.
Can you spell that?
F-U-C.
F-U-C.
O-I-D-A-N.
O-R-D-A-N. Oh,
Fucoidan.
Fucoidan. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. So if you can have your friend get the
Okay.
Z-Radical in as many bottles as she can afford, her, he, whatever gender they may be, And just to dose that out over a month. One bottle's got 32 ounces. So if you got one bottle, you do an ounce a day. It's that simple. And you know what? It tastes really good.
They already two friends. They already on with doctors with the medications. Those them medications that gonna destroy and kill.
Yeah,
So,
a lot of medications do.
As they start taking these nutrients, they can start those medications.
Yeah, you know what? If it was me, I can't tell them what to do and I can't diagnose anything, but let me tell you this. If it was me, I would run from that treatment because 9 times out of 10, it's the treatment that's going to kill them.
Yeah.
All right?
Okay.
I hope I answered all your questions, Gisette. I got a lot of calls I want to get to. We're going to let you go. You betcha. And if you have any problems, just shoot me an email, mike@teamglidden.ca. We're going to jump over to David in Toronto. David, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Like, there are two things. Now, I did want to ask about what you know about Dr. Buzinski. But first, I want to ask, now, your wife had a problem with, what was it, arthritic pain?
Yeah,
joint?
she had, well, you know, they would call it bursitis, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, fibromyalgia. They were throwing words at it and trying to. She wouldn't take any of the drugs, right? Because she doesn't like drugs in the first place. And then they wanted to give her antidepressants because, wow, you're in a lot of pain. You must be depressed, right? But nothing was going to fix it. But we actually fixed it in about, it got significantly better in 6 months, and it was 100% gone in 1 year.
Through taking what? What
What she used for that, she used, how are you speaking on behalf of somebody or yourself?
My wife, mainly.
Okay, how much does your wife weigh?
Oh, she's about 160, maybe 150.
160, 150 pounds. Okay, you know what, David? Let's discuss that on the other side of this break, and then we're going to get to Kyle and Karen. David, stay right where you are. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. We're going to talk about bone and joint health after this. Okay, so David in Toronto, we were talking to just before the break, and I was talking with him about his wife. She's got joint pain. What did they actually tell her? Did they say osteo? Osteo, okay.
Osteoarthritis.
Yeah. And so you were saying she's about 160 pounds. And so, what we do is we give the body the appropriate minerals, vitamins, and amino and fatty acids. And there are 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino, and 3 fatty acids. And if you're familiar with the whole deal, I'll skip right to the punch, David. Oh, you're a distributor. Okay. So, David, what I would do if I was you is I would get my wife on 2 Healthy Start Pack 2.0 liquid. All right, now that's a 200-pound dose. So there's going to be a little bit extra as far as what she needs. Okay, so if she wants to, she can cut back to 3 scoops of Tangy Tangerine instead of 4. You get me? So with that, I would get 2 bottles of Glucogel Plus liquid. 2 bottles of Glucogel Plus liquid. Also, on top of that, I would get her at least 2 bottles of Ultimate Selenium. Does that sound good to you, David?
Oh, yeah, it does.
All right. So you're a distributor. How's Longevity treating you so far?
Oh, pretty good. As a matter of fact, my blood sugar went down to, well, I haven't used medication for a long time, but my blood sugar, I was in the hospital recently, and my blood sugar measured from 4.9 to 7.1. Now, the 7.1, I said, why not? They said, oh, it's a medication we're giving you.
Of course they did. That's one thing they're very good at, is taking credit for other people's work.
The 4.9, they said, you're normal.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Right on. Anyways, yeah. So, okay. So are we squared away with your wife then?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. Now you had another topic you wanted to discuss.
Dr. Brzezinski.
Yeah, yeah. And it's
And-
interesting that you bring that up because somebody in my downline just shot me a text message the other day and said, tell me what you think of this. So I know as much as anybody who's spent a little bit of time on YouTube and surfing the net knows about Dr. Brzezinski.
Yeah, there's about a 2-hour movie on YouTube.
Yep.
A documentary done. And
That's
man,
correct.
It's sad when you can't trust your government or anybody else regarding that stuff.
It's sad when you do.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
they've got a bad track record.
They do, yes.
They do. So, but no, you're right. I mean, if, and a lot of people, it's a really rude awakening.
He's got a 30% cancer cure rate on his patients.
It said, on the movie, he said 20 to 30, and chemo best is you're looking at about 5, if that can even be referred to as a success
that's
rate.
That's only if they live 5 years.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And it's not a very good, and you know what? Even if they live that 5 years, I guarantee you, they're going to have breakdowns down the road because the chemo just absolutely destroys you.
Oh, yeah. Well, when you watch that movie called Cancer Cure on YouTube, that really can open some eyes.
It's very interesting, and I'm always looking for basically whatever works. Now, what I like about Dr. Wallach's approach as opposed to Dr. Brzezinski is that what we do, you can do at home, and it's relatively inexpensive. With Dr. Brzezinski, you've got to go to his clinic,
you gotta go to Houston. Yeah,
that's right, and it's probably very expensive. I couldn't find any price quotes.
Yeah,
but I was actually looking at getting Dr. Brzezinski on the program here just to discuss it because I figured it'd be interesting. David, I gotta let you go. It's the end of this break. We got some more calls to get to here and about a half a segment left. Thank you so much for calling in. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. We're going to go to Kyle in California and Karen in Florida after this. Welcome back. We're live. Fire Your MD Now Radio. The call-in line is 844-374-5433. You can contact me. My email address is mike@teamglidden.ca, and we've got a lot of calls, so if we don't get to you, call back tomorrow, but just stick around because I'm going to try and get through these in the time I have available. With that, we're going to go over to Kyle in California. Thanks for hanging on as long as you did, Kyle. You're on the air.
Sure, no problem. Hi, doctor. I'm calling in regards to my mother-in-law. I'm familiar with the products. I'm a distributor for the longevity.
Good.
Yeah. So she just got diagnosed yesterday with cervical cancer.
Yeah.
And so that's the main thing. She has a couple other things going on, but, that's something that we want to get taken care of and not the traditional way,
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense because the traditional way would be, it's nasty. So, and not to mention the fact that it's expensive and it doesn't work on top of it. So you're a smart girl for getting involved with longevity in the first place. And if I was you with is it your mother or your mother-in-law?
My mother-in-law.
Mother-in-law. Okay, so what I would do, first of all, she doesn't have cervical cancer because she has a cervix. All right? She's got a condition in her body that is allowing that to happen. Now, if that condition isn't tackled in the whole body, they could get rid of the cervical cancer, but the condition remains. So we want her body to be able to fight off cancer and be healthy on its own. And the fact is, if you give your body what it needs, it will fight off cancer because it doesn't want that to be there and it's abnormal. Now, what I would do for your mother-in-law, Kyle, is I would get her on the Z-Radical. Okay? Z-Radical, as much as she or you can afford to get in her.
Okay.
Also, I would get her a healthy brain and heart pack with extra selenium. And the reason I say the brain and heart pack is because of a couple of things. It's got a bottle of selenium in it. Now, selenium will recycle a biochemical called glutathione in your body that directly attacks free radicals. Okay, without the presence of selenium, they attack once and they die like a bumblebee. You want to keep that glutathione moving around the body. Number two, there's a product in the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack called Cell Shield RTQ. The RTQ stands for resveratrol, turmeric, and quercetin, and there are a billion studies showing how powerful each one of those ingredients are at fighting cancer. Okay? So that's what I would do if I was you, and best of luck. Get that stuff in her, get her off the 10 bad food list, and hopefully you're going to be calling back into the show telling me how much better things are. So what has Longevity done for you, Kyle?
Oh, well, actually, for me, it's I had the most severe case of Crohn's disease at such a young. I was 33 when I was finally diagnosed with it. That
is so painful.
Yeah, all my life, but they didn't diagnose me until I was 33. Once they finally diagnosed me, they told me I had the worst case they'd ever seen. Wanted to do chemo, antidepressants, all kinds of crazy stuff. Luckily, my husband heard Dr. Wallach's show. I was cured in 30 days. 30 days. It took
30 days.
30 days to cure of 30 years of pain. People they don't believe you because you don't look like you're sick, and everything that goes along with having something that isn't on your forehead. People can't see the Crohn's. And Dr. Wallach, I can't thank him enough. And I try to help other people, and most people don't want to be helped though, but the ones that do, I try. But what I was going to ask you though, also about her, is that she has diabetes, and so she's taking insulin and a pill form of medication.
Yeah.
Every day, and I know about the 10 bad foods. I'm going to get her all that, get her gluten free. I know all that, but it can't be. She's basically the medication she takes is for diabetes, and she takes Lipitor, which I know we need to get her off that. So, what would you suggest in regards to, I know not necessarily take her off, but when she has to kind of wean herself off a little bit off the medications as her blood sugar gets normal, the diabetes.
Yeah, so I've got a guy in my group here in Camrose that was type 2 for about 27 years or so. Okay. And after 37 days, he stopped taking insulin, and he's weaning himself off of his medication right now. And all he's doing is monitoring his blood sugar, because you have to anyways, right?
Okay.
But if she takes the sweeties, 3 of them per day, and there's 2 minerals in there, chromium and vanadium. Okay, and that's what she wants to help promote and support the healthy structure and function of her blood sugar and how the sugar is metabolized. So, we've seen big success with the sweeties. So with that other stuff that I told you about, I would just add in a bottle of sweeties. And then, she can talk to her pharmacist, and if her numbers start changing, then just discuss it with the pharmacist, and he'll know. She can just tell him the numbers are getting better. I want to wean myself off the medication. He'll be able to tell her how to do that. A lot of times, pharmacists are really helpful in that manner, more so than doctors. Doctors just want you get out of here and take the pills. But you'll find pharmacists will be a lot more helpful.
Okay, and then the Lipitor, because I know Dr. Wallach says there's no such thing as the high cholesterol, and all that. So should she just, once she gets on, this stuff and off the 10 bad foods, should she just kind of wean herself off the Lipitor, or should that be something she should discuss? She's been on it for about 2 months now, and I guess her cholesterol supposedly wasn't that high, but the doctor said they wanted to put her on her just in case, which, I know is not...
Yeah, her cholesterol is probably low in our view. But
yeah, that's what I said. Dr. Wallach says it's, you can't have it.
Listen, okay, I've heard it said when it comes to Lipitor, I've heard it said flush it down the toilet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's really a useless drug, and I mean, somebody's making money off of it, right? So they got to prescribe it.
Yeah.
But it's
Side effects, I know that.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
big time. So yeah, if she wants to wean herself off of that or throw in the garbage, I can't tell you what to do. All I can tell you is what I would do. And at the beginning of your call, you called me doctor. I don't ever want you to do that again. I'm actually a fill-in host for Dr. Peter Glidden, and like you, I'm a distributor. But the reason I'm able to use these products so effectively is because I'm a student of my good friend Dr. Peter Glidden, and he has never ever steered me wrong.
Nice.
So, yeah, if you become an insider, I don't know if you've done that yet, but it costs you
Not
$20
yet,
a month. Yeah, it costs you only $20 a month, and you will have access to the most life-changing information. And if you study those webinars and watch them, there'll come a time when people will come up to you and name off something that's going on, and you'll be able to just rattle off right now, here's what I would do. But we really have to be careful of using the word treatment or cure or because of the FDA, Health Canada, and there's a gang of lawyers waiting out there to jump on whoever they can, because this information, in their view, has to be suppressed at all costs, because profits come before you and your mother-in-law's health.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I'm well aware of that, and I definitely, basically, Dr. Wallach's products just gave me back what God intended for me to need for my body to work right, and my Crohn's disappeared. So
That's
whether
awesome.
you call it. So I'm I'm very thankful for that. That's great. I think, let's see, that should be it. No, that sounds great. Well, thank you so much.
Kyle, I'm going to let you go, and we're going to jump over to Karen in Florida. Thank you very much for your call. I appreciate it. And Karen, you are live. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Well, I'm all right. I see that you want to kickstart your heart. Am I right?
Pretty much. We're actually sitting in a hospital room right now. It's for my husband. He's 63 years old. He weighs 148 pounds. He's 5'10". We're actually being discharged from the hospital because he refused to have a nuclear stress test.
Uh-huh. That sounds good, doesn't it?
I am a distributor. The prognosis, what they're saying is he came in with congestive heart because he has had high blood pressure. We started our healthy pack about 2 months ago. He just started the Ultimate Daily last week. So the high blood pressure put him in congestive heart failure.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also talking about a leaky mitral valve. So
all right.
We're here ready to get some good information.
Well, hopefully it can help you out. I've seen major problems with people's hearts overcome really quickly. I was mentioning that earlier in the show,
Right.
and if you heard that earlier caller, the heart is a muscle, and when there's a mineral deficiency, muscles get all funky, and they just don't act the way that they should. So, what I would do, if I was you, your husband is 148 pounds?
Yes.
I would get him 2 healthy brain and heart packs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? 2 healthy brain and heart packs. Now, because
I already wrote that down.
okay, because he's having heart difficulties, I would actually up the OsteoFX. I would get 1 extra bottle of Beyond OsteoFX liquid, and so that he would take 3 ounces a day. Now, when me and my wife were able to get on top of her high blood pressure, all we did was double up her OsteoFX, and it was gone in 4 days. Okay? It happened that fast. Yeah, so I've seen this happen. Now, on top of that, I would like it, or here's what I would do, let's put it that way. I would get him 1 bottle of Ultimate Dailies. Okay? 1 bottle of Ultimate Dailies, and he's going to take 4 of those per day. All right, and it's that easy. That's all you got to do. Follow the 10 bad food list. Do you have a copy of that?
Yes. Oh, yes. We have been. We've been doing that the past probably 2 months.
Excellent, excellent. You're a smart girl, and your diligence and your ability to look at the right information, I predict, will pay off big time for you and your husband's quality of life. Thank you so much for calling the show, Karen. Do you have any other questions?
No, I just really appreciate the whole your whole mission, and my team has just been great for me. They've been there for me. And I just really, thank you guys for carrying on.
Well, thank you for picking up the mission yourself. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. We're going to go over to Ardian in Pennsylvania and Junior in Florida if we can fit them in after this break. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Final segment of Fire Your Empty Now Radio. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Glidden, Thursday, October 9th, 2014. We have a very short segment left. I'm going to try and get to both of these calls. Ardian in Pennsylvania. Am I pronouncing that right? Ardian?
Yes, Ardian. Yes.
Ardian.
Thank you.
Okay. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, thanks, Mike, for taking my call. I just want to let you know that in the past I had a liver cyst.
Yeah.
I was on medication, Beltracide. I was on Zyvox, and I was on Albenza. And I was on medication for 1 year, but this was in May 2005 when I had the surgery, so until May 2006 I was in medication. After that, I healed, then, like 3 months later I had another surgery on that. But I don't know, it's just, years after that, bad nutrition and things like that. After I got into, Dr. Wallach and everything, I found about the 10 foods, so I'm trying to do that. I just want to supplement to, any existing thing that could be, inside me to maybe heal. I have a bad rash. I feel grinding in my stomach. I'm weak. I'm always fatigued. I play soccer, but I'm just like really bad rash. I tried lotions. I tried everything. I just want like a supplement that would, help me like with any like liver cyst, anything that can cure that. I want to be on for that at least 90 days just to see if I can, get my health back.
Well, you come to the right place, Ardian, except let's not use that cure word. It's kind of a bad one around here. I don't cure disease. We whoop it. Okay, I can say that. I think. I don't know. I'll hear about it. Anyways, Ardian, how much do you weigh?
I weigh 150 pounds. I'm 158, 26 years old. I play soccer. I'm in pretty good shape. Okay,
Ardian, you know what? It's funny because these last few calls I've been telling people about the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. I want you to get 2 Healthy Brain and Heart Packs, and the reason for that is because you'll get 1 bottle of Ultimate Selenium with each of those. Now, selenium is an absolute game changer when it comes to your liver. Also, the selenium in a 2-prong attack, if there's any tendency to grow a cyst anywhere, it will aid in the fight against that as well. Now, along with that, you're going to get the Cell Shield RTQ, and that is a major antioxidant. So, if there's any kind of a fire going on in your body, this is going to aid the fire department in putting it out, and you're going to feel great. And I tell you what else, Ardian, you're going to be running circles around those other soccer players when you start using these, because you're going to have so much energy, my friend, that it is just you're going to explode. Now, as far as the rashes go, in our view, that's a couple of things. A gluten intolerance. I hope you're off that gluten. Are you off the gluten?
Working on it. I'm working on it. One thing I need, sir, is just like because my mother makes home cooked bread every day. I just want like a flour that doesn't have gluten, and I'm gonna stick that until.
Okay, yeah. There's a few ways you can do that. Now with going gluten free, there's a couple of other products in those Healthy Brain and Heart Packs. There's EFAs, and that's amino and fatty acids. Now, if you take 6 of those per day, which you're gonna be able to do if you get those 2 packs. I predict that skin rash will just clear up. Your body will just fix it. A healthy body fixes itself. And just like a car needs coolant, needs oil, needs air, needs water, Okay? It needs brake fluid, needs power steering fluid. Your body needs a whole load of nutrients. But the good news is you came to the right place, and you're going to get them. And once you put them in your body and quit putting junk in the gas tank, and listen, I know how it is when you walk in the house and there's fresh baked bread, because it smells so good it almost makes your eyes cross, right?
Yeah.
And we used to do that all the time around here. But when we went gluten free, if your mom can figure that out, and it sounds like she's probably a pretty good baker, and if she knows her way around the kitchen, you say, Mom, I want to get rid of these skin conditions, and if you bake gluten free, I should be able to do it. Arjan, I gotta let you go. Thanks for your call. And I hear the music. Junior in Florida and the other caller on the line, please call back tomorrow and we will talk about anything you want to. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. I'll see you in health.